I was faffing with a card machine, it's terrible. Hello. I'm going to try and move through these fairly swiftly, so it's not to take up too much time, but there is a little bit of explaining to do with some of them. I'm going to read 2 poems about what is happening in Gaza at the moment, and I'm going to read 2 about our place, this valley. We'll start with one. This was a poem I wrote. It's in Welsh. I'm not going to translate it, but I'll explain a little bit about it. After seeing a video of a group of men trying to comfort a young girl who was having a panic attack in the middle of a thunderstorm on the street in Gaza, unable to differentiate between the sound of the bombs falling and the sound of the thunderclaps. So this is a poem that starts with the line of a famous hwyangerdd. Be di hwyangerdd in Saesneg? Lullaby. Cysgyd fy mlentyn tlws. And it's imagining a parent comforting their child through this experience. Cysgyd fy mlentyn tlws. Dwi wedi cau a chloi'r drws. Na fy ngariad, nid bombiau, dim ond taran. Cei gysgu tan y bore heno. Ac yn y bore bydd dŵr yn y bwcedi, cei yfed a molchyd o wyneb, a chanfita dwi'n addo. Na, mond taran cariad, mond taran. Dwi'n gwybod mewn anodd, ond paid y bod ofyn dy freuddwydion. Cofiad i hwyl y cynheuaf a'r machlyd yn chwarae mefus ar y dail, a chei gysgu tan y bore. Cyn hir cei chwarae yn yr olwyddlan eto, cawn ganu efo'r coed, cawn chwerthin eto. Na fy ngariad, ni ddeiant yn ôl, ond ni af una dwi'n addo. Cysgyd i fy mlentyn tlws, cei gysgu tan. Dyfu di enw hon, mae'n gerdd am afon dyfu yr hyn sy'n tynnu ni gyd at ei gilydd. This is a poem about the Dyfu, the river Dyfu, and how she pulls us all together. O'r llyn yn hysel yr arran, daw yn nant a'i bwrlwm yn beichio'n anadl ar y crigiau llyfrles noeth. Daw yn afon yn ei thro, yn llifo'n siŵr heb hest, a weithiau mewn llyd dibaid. A phob diferyn o lew a chwys a gwaed, pob deigryn sy'n disgyn ymreichiau'r briniau hyn, mae pob un yn dilyn y dynfa. Ar hyd deilen trwy bridd a draen a ffos a gro, i glist y dŵr. Sgwennes y gerdd hon ar ôl... Di rhaen chi'n cofio Aled Mynachdy? So un o'n hoff atgoffion o ymrofiad Bugeili'r Bryniau oedd hel mynydd yn ysgyrfochtant efo Aled ac Aled Bech hefyd. A ges i byth cyfle i rannu'r gerdd yma efo Aled cyn iddo fo farw. So bob tro fyddai'n darllen y gerdd hon, fyddai'n meddwl am Aled. This is a poem to a friend of mine, of ours. Who was a farmer who I wrote with sometimes, and one of my fondest memories of my experiences shepherding these hills around here, I was gathering the mountain with Aled and another friend of ours, Aled Wynn, one July afternoon in 2022. And Aled died sadly a few years ago, and I never got a chance to share this with him, so every time I read this I will think of Aled. And it is a short poem about how no poem can ever come close to the beauty of what it is to be out on the mountain gathering sheep. Nid oes un gerdd cystal a gwawr y grig a'r gwair yn gwibio ar foch y mynydd, yn oleg o hir y prynhawn hwnnw. Cymylau yn hollti ar y creigiau, yr est yn fflech goch trwy air ffegio, a'r awel yn ies trwy'r cwbl, fel anadl ar gefn gwddw. Last poem. It takes a little bit of explaining. Yr yfallen ar olywydden, the apple tree and the olive tree. This was a poem that I wrote in the first few weeks after the beginning of the genocide last year, and I was thinking about all this whilst I was out in the orchards picking apples during the cider apple harvest. And I'd read this article about these olive farmers who'd been cleared from their farms and locked up in camps, and could see in the distance, their olive groves coming into fruit and going heavy with fruit and falling, and the fruit rotting on the ground, and weren't able to, were kind of reaching out and unable to be there and harvest the fruits of their labours, the fruits of these trees, and at the same time the IDF were going around burning olive groves, and that wasn't something new. This is something that's been going on for years. And both the olive tree in Palestinian culture and the apple tree in Welsh and beyond, even in broader British culture, are kind of more than just crops and articles of economic dependence. They are symbols for relationship to land and unity with land and belonging. And so this is a poem of solidarity between agricultural peoples, between peoples that have close relationships with trees, and is an offering of refuge beneath our tree. Yfallen beryn. And it makes recourse to some very old lines in Welsh, in medieval Welsh poetry, in which the apple tree is invoked as this. There's a series of stanzas by Merlin the poet, that are these kind of blues stanzas that are dealing with the trauma of war after this battle of Barddoniaeth, which was a battle between the Brythonic peoples and the Saxons in what's now the north of England. And it's sort of the verses jump between kind of blissful recollections of his youth spent in the company of an apple tree, and then followed by these poems that are kind of evoking the traumas of war. And there's lots of themes of apple trees. Ynys Yfallen, where King Arthur goes to be restored after the Battle of Camlan, of apple trees being related to dealing with the traumas of war somehow. So it's drawing on those threads. Yr yfallen ar olywydden. Yfallen beren y wylodd ddail dros gwaed a'r derydd, y dail sy'n disgyn yn dwylo. Mae olywyddan heb ei chynaeafu heno, ei ffrwytho'n drwm rhwng y dail arian, a'r dwylo yn estyn o bell i ffwrdd. Yfallen beren y dif arnus bell, eich ynghenau'n cyfleidio'r machryd. Mae olywydden ar den yn Halesteina heno. Sgrechian lle bu chwerthin, sŵn bomiau lle bu gwyddi. Y gyddfau llawn gwaed lle bu'r gen. Yfallen beren y dif mewn cuddfan yn y gwirdd, ei ffrwythau'n drwm rhwng y dail. Mae olywydden yn llwch yn Gaza heno. Ni wyddom ei henwau, y rhai sy'n gorwedd yn y lludw. Ond pell llosgau pobl y wydden, a phechwypiau'r gwynt y lludw i'r nen, safau'r yfallen beren. A byddant yn ei bon. Diolch yn fawr.